It is April 3rd, 2025. There's not a lot because everything that has happened over the since the evening time when Trump announced the tariffs and basically every country in the world getting reciprocal tariffs, it just became everybody using conjecture and basically pissing and moaning about what they're going to do. Oh, this is the worst, blah, blah. So I didn't cover all that because it really doesn't do anything to list the South African president commenting on what the tariffs could potentially do. I think you're all smart enough to understand that. So there was a lot of posts, but it was all belly aching over the tariffs. Oh my God, it's going to cause inflation. It's going to maybe it will. I think the point is that we've been getting hit by tariffs for a long time, and he's trying to kind of claw some of those back. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with the tariffs and everything, but nobody really knows. The Canadians and the Mexicans are already kind of in a way to potentially get rid of them with the trade because they're so reliant upon us. European Union is, kind of threatening our tech and stuff. So it's just a lot of stuff like that. There was numerous posts about all that, about what they think it will do. And so I didn't include a lot of that stuff because nobody knows. It just would have been a waste of your time. I've been here reading for 45 minutes over things that are just like, it could or it couldn't, or maybe they'll fix it or whatever. So who knows? But we're going to tell you everything else. There's a bunch of other stuff going on. So strap in, lock in, and get ready for your crisis report for April 3rd, 2025. Hit the like button, subscribe bar, and all that. Darken up the bell, get the notifications. Here we go. President Trump says it's Liberation Day in America. Volcano in eastern Indonesia erupted twice on Wednesday, releasing a column of smoke nearly 1 mile into the air in the country's volcanology agency. President Trump has indicated to top advisors that Elon Musk could be taking a step back from his current role in the administration. Judge dismissed corruption case against New York mayor. Senate passed a bill 51-48 to terminate Trump's tariffs on Canada. So they're being very helpful. Amazon makes a last-minute bid for TikTok. Russia rejects the United States demands in negotiations, as already wrote that it will happen. Russia says it cannot accept U.S. proposals to end the war in Ukraine in their current form because they do not address the problems that caused the conflict. Signaling that ceasefire talks are stalled, Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said Russia and the United States have so far failed to bridge the difference that Vladimir Putin outlined more than 2 weeks ago when he said the U.S. proposals should be revised. So there's hope that it's still going on. There's just been kind of a pause, I guess, because everybody's in their sticking points and they're not really open to other ideas and things. So we'll see how it goes, but it's good that they're still talking about it. It's good that ceasefire is possible. We definitely need that ceasefire, especially if we're going to go balls deep into the Middle East. United States will impose 34% tariff on China, 26% on India, 20% on the European Union. So, United States announces reciprocal tariffs on the following countries: Chile 10, India 26, Israel 17. They got real mad at Israel because they said they took them off, but there's a reason they did 17%. I'll get to that here in a moment. Brazil 10, China 34, Japan 24, Turkey 10, Taiwan 32, Vietnam 46, Pakistan 29, Thailand 36, Australia 10, Malaysia 24, Colombia 10, Sri Lanka 44, Singapore 10, Indonesia 32, Cambodia 49, Philippines 17, Switzerland 31, Bangladesh 37, South Korea 25, South Africa 30, United Kingdom 10%, European Union 20%. So they said about Israel, 17% was basically to offset the $7 billion trade deficit that they have. So that's where that number came, because Israelis were like, "What the heck, dude? We're your best friends ever," and they had removed some of their tariffs. So America, basically, the secretary said this is because their trade deficit is what we're trying to claw back. President Trump levies a 17% tariff on Israel, despite its complete elimination of duties on U.S. imports. Israeli economic officials are stunned by the U.S. decision to impose a 17% tariff. "We are in shock. We were sure the decision to completely cancel tariffs on imports from the U.S. would prevent this move, but it didn't happen." Yeah, that's the trade deficit thing. Trump has officially started a tariff war against the world. The most surprising thing is that his favorite, Israel, also received tariffs of 17%, which is a bit ridiculous because the U.S. sends huge financial aid to Israel every year. China received tariffs of well over 50%. Products from China in the U.S. will jump by 50%. Almost all partners, such as the UK, EU, Japan, Australia, South Korea, and others, also received tariffs. Another interesting fact is that Russia was not on the list. Now the question is, what will happen to in the U.S. market? Will there be a massive jump in prices and inflation, or will the Trump government manage to keep this stable? So that is the big question. Are things going to be going up in price, or are they going to be stable? The United States has been pulling air defenses such as the THAAD and Patriot from the theaters, moving them to CENTCOM via airlift for the last few days. The movements have been tracked, and the news has now been confirmed by NBC. Rolling risk, unvetted migrants behind the wheel of big rigs threaten of U.S. safety and security. Leaders of trucking advocacy group are sounding the alarm, claiming that the American Trucking Association advised the federal government during the Biden-Harris administration to issue hundreds of thousands of non-domiciled commercial driver's license, CDLs, to non-citizens, many of whom reportedly cannot read or write English. Many of these unvetted migrants were funneled into the long-haul trucking sector, which poses national security and public safety risks. Major GPS blackout was taking place near Port Sudan, UKMTO has reported. Ships near Port Sudan are reporting hours-long GPS failures, forcing crews to switch to backup systems to avoid getting lost at sea. UK Maritime Trade Operations, or UKMTO, as part of the Royal Navy, said the interference is serious enough to impact navigation across the busy Red Sea route. Officials are urging vessels in the area to stay alert and to report any unusual disruptions to their systems. United States military movements to the Middle East amid the backdrop of rising tensions between the United States and Iran, alongside President Trump's ultimatum. U.S. military activity in the Middle East has dramatically risen, transporting additional assets and air defense batteries. Surge of Air Mobility Command, or RCH, flights to air bases in Qatar, Bahrain, Jordan, and Djibouti are displayed below. So And by the way, if you ever need that, that's right there. You click on that, and you notice the little bottom left corner, the thing pops up. That is where you can click, and that's a good thing about the crisis report online. A lot of these links have, or a lot of these posts have like links and stuff, so you can go and find it for yourself and figure it out. It is preppernow.substack.com. United States will impose 34% tariff on China, 26% on India, and 20% on the European Union. New 34% tariff on China is on top of the existing 20%, raising the total to 54%, CNBC has reported. So here it is explained. This is a couple days ago, but this guy does a pretty good job. So it's kind of in the forward tense, but this is what he says he is doing and what will potentially happen. Not will, but could. Tariffs expand. New reciprocal tariffs hit imports worth trillions, targeting countries like the Dirty 15, that's China, EU, with high trade barriers, Canada, Mexico, exemptions, and 25% rates kick in. Prices rise, everyday goods, electronics, food get pricier as tariffs boost costs, inflation jumps, GDP dips. Jobs and markets, over 300,000 U.S. jobs at risk despite manufacturing hopes. Stock markets swing wildly based on tariff deals or details. Global backlash, EU slaps $2 billion or $28 billion in U.S. exports April 13th. Others retaliate. Supply chains reroute. Costs climb. Deals and revenues. Some nations negotiate lower tariffs. Pre-deadline. U.S. gains $1.5 trillion over a decade for potential tax cuts. Trump's spin will be that he calls it a tough but needed fix to liberate the U.S. from trade ripoffs Congress may resist if fallout grows. And all that basically has come to fruition. Now, we don't know about inflation yet because we haven't seen what will happen once these things are levied, but it's potential. It's potential your cheap crap from Walmart will go up in price. So we'll just have to see. Severe storms are sweeping across the central United States, bringing the threat of powerful tornadoes and life-threatening floods. House Democrats launched an investigation into Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s handling of the bird flu. I guess he didn't kill enough chickens, and that really made him mad. Should ban chickens. That's what they want to do. Just ban everything. U.S. Treasury Secretary warns the world not to retaliate against Trump's tariffs. Nearly 2,000 scientists, engineers, and researchers have signed an open letter to President Trump's administration demanding an end to what they call an assault on science, because that was such a great, way to go about things in 2020. How about we trust but verify? Sweden to upgrade nuclear bunkers for 7 million people. Around 10 million will be invested in their renovation amid fears of a possible war. The Daily Mail reports the country has 64,000 shelters designed for 7 million people, more than two-thirds of the population. After Sweden joined NATO in March 2024, the Swedish Civil Defense Agency has stepped up inspections of the protective structures, some of which can accommodate thousands of people at a time. Bunkers are to protect against shockwaves, radioactive fallout, chemical and biological weapons. MSB said it has launched a large-scale modernization program that will take 2 to 3 years. The work includes upgrading filters that provide protection against the chemical and radioactive threats. Netanyahu says our forces have begun to take control of the second Philadelphia corridor in the southern Gaza Strip. Netanyahu says we are now working to dismember the Gaza Strip and are intensifying the pressure step by step. Over the past hour, Israeli Air Force has been conducting a massive wave of airstrikes against multiple targets, including Tariff military base, or the T4 base in Homs Desert, Hama Military Airport, and the Barza Scientific Research Facility in Damascus. Such an offensive operation aims to cripple the ability by the HTS regime from reestablishing Syrian military and sending a direct threat to Erdogan's government to abandon perceived neo-Ottoman pretensions in Syrian soil. Days ago, outlets reported after purposefully leaked Israeli intelligence reports that Turkish armed forces were preparing to establish a foothold in central Syria. Dozens of airstrikes are happening all over western Syria. Trump's tariffs would hit lower-income Americans hardest. New tariffs will hit lower-income people, according to an analysis by the Yale Budget Lab. Low-income households could see a 5.5% drop in disposable income, and other countries retaliate with tariffs of their own. In comparison, the wealthiest households would see a 2.1% decrease, though in absolute dollar terms, they will bear a larger burden due to higher spending. For middle-income families, the average annual cost of the tariffs is about $3,800, while for top earners, it could reach $9,500. Despite promises to lower inflation, Trump's trade war risks raising the cost of everyday goods, from food and clothes to electronics and cars across the board. Tariffs are expected to significantly influence both U.S. inflation and economic growth. Google's Threat Intelligence Group, or CTIG, has uncovered an alarming expansion of North Korean cyber espionage operations into Europe. After initially targeting the U.S., these cyber warriors are state-backed IT operatives posing as freelance workers to infiltrate private companies and even government bodies. Impacts, targets, infiltration discovered in companies across Germany, Portugal, and the UK, especially in sectors like AI, robotics, blockchain. Some even access European government entities. Stolen data is sometimes used for blackmail or sold to competitors. Former employees have threatened to leak sensitive data, including source code and internal documents. Trump's approval drops to 43%. His approval rating dropped to 43%, the lowest since his return to office, according to new Reuters Ipsos polls. Approval is down 2 points from late March, 4 points below his post-inauguration high of 47%. Only 37% approve of his economic performance, just 30% back his response to rising living costs. 52% believe new auto tariffs will harm people around them. 1/3, mostly Republicans, disagree the tariffs are harmful. U.S. bans American diplomats and contractors with clearances and their families in China from having romantic or sexual relationships with Chinese nationals. So don't go boning any Chinese people over there if you're working for the government. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says the European Union won't take chicken from America. They hate our beef because that beef is beautiful and theirs is weak. You need some nice, strong, good, tasty beef. You come on over to America and we get you the beef. Speaking of which, I picked up our quarter of beef. I'll be showing it probably in a pic here today in one of the videos. So we have a stocked fridge. So I look forward to everybody telling us how our power is going to go out. All the meat is going to rot, and we are going to starve on the homestead. Thank you. Yemen's Houthis shot down another American MQ-9 Reaper UAV over Al Hudaydah. This is the second MQ-9 downed in 72 hours. Total MQ-9 UAV losses in Yemen are now 17. Total cost of the Reaper UAV lost by the U.S. in Yemen is $527 million. It's a lot of billions gone. Israeli Defense Minister Katz says, I warned Syria's ruler al-Jilani, if you allow hostile forces to enter Syria and threaten Israel's security interests, you will pay a very heavy price. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz says Israel's Air Force and its operations serve as a warning for the future. We will not allow harm to the security of the state of Israel. Hungary will withdraw from International Criminal Court. That was a new one that just was posted today. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar says Turkey's intention is for Syria to be a Turkish protectorate. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar also said that Turkey is playing a negative role in Syria, Lebanon, and other regions. Russia's foreign ministry on Le Pen's ban in France says that France has killed democracy. United States Secretary of State Rubio says that we will remain in NATO and Trump is not against NATO. United States military expanded its presence in the Middle East. Over 40,000 troops deployed. USS Truman in Red Sea, USS Carl Vinson en route, B-52s, B-2s, A-10s, F-15Es, F-35s, and MQ-9s are all in the theater. More THAAD and Patriot systems have been deployed. And the euro has risen more than 2%, set for the biggest daily jump since 2015. And the dollar has accelerated its losses, down over 2.6% versus euro. So things are happening in the markets, and people are going to be watching them and all that because they're all freaking out. So that is your crisis report for April 3rd, 2025. The trade war, tariff war has gone on. He will be dragged through the mud on the mainstream media, but hopefully in the background they will negotiate with all these countries a little bit more fair terms and stop treating the Americans as cash cows like they basically have been doing for quite some time. So yeah, the tariffs thing and everything, it's all a cudgel. They're just trying to use it so they can get people to come to bear to take off some of these, tariffs from all kinds. Like, I didn't put it in here, but there is an island called Heard Island and an island called McDonald Island that Trump put tariffs on. The problem is that these tariffs are on islands where the only inhabitants are penguins. Heard Island and McDonald Island they have nothing there with the exception of penguins. So that's how far-reaching his tariffs are. So anybody feeling like they've been targeted or whatever, they need to buck up. So I think he's just trying to do it to get some fair terms, get some money in, but also basically get a little bit more free trade. We'll just have to see how it works. Don't go freaking out and buying a Walmart because you think everything's going to go up in price by 50%. You very well could see in the next 96 hours negotiations with China where they bring them down and yada, 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 and everything will be fine. So, all right, friends, that is your crisis report for April 3rd, 2025. God bless you all. Please keep stacking stock and sticking to your plan. Hit the like button, do the subscribe thing. Join us as a member, potentially, like some random dude and others. That couple bucks makes us keep the lights on and keep going. Subscribe, star, and locals. I need to post more there. I've been very busy in the last few days, sports balling with my girls, but we are back, and we will see you on the next one.